let's see what's going on. As I said, or as it shows on the title, I want to talk about air filter. I had a few conversation with different people about air filter, specifically high flow air filter. I had some people messaging me claiming that the K&N, the SNS, the DNA, or all those other high flow air filter, in the long run, actually ruin your engine. It's a contentious topic. Some people say they do, some people say they don't. In my opinion, well, let's leave my opinion for later on. Let's see if we can have a conversation where you guys tell me what you think about high flow air filter, if they're worth buying, if they're worth for performance, and if overall you have a high flow air filter on your bike, or you just keep replacing it with the paper one. When it comes to me, I used all sorts of air filters. I used this air filter over here. This comes from the Scrambler. Removed it. This is the regular paper air filter, and I put a K&N. As a matter of fact, I put this one in, and I have K&N on the GS over there. I have a K&N on the Aprilia, and I have a K&N on the Scrambler. I found out over the years that the K&N air filters actually fit properly. There is never anything to cut out. There is never anything to adjust, remove. I can just pull the old filter out, drop the new filter in, and call it good. As a matter of fact, I have one on my car as well, and now my car has 120,000 miles on it. Not light miles either. And just to be clear, I'm not sponsored by K&N whatsoever. It's not because I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I had a very interesting conversation about it, and I want to bring you in, and I want to see what you guys think about that. Among other filters, on top of the paper filter, the cloth filter with oil, the K&N, there are also sponge filters. This one comes from the YZ over there, the Yamaha. And the thing is, every filter has his own place. I don't know if you guys understand what I mean when I say that every filter has its place. Let's put it this way. If you use your motorcycle to commute, most time, you don't care about any performance increase. You don't want to do any mods to it. You want easy maintenance where you just grab the filter, toss it, and put another one in. Most likely, the paper filter is going to be the one to go with. They keep the engine clean. They are what your bike is being tuned for. So if you're mainly commuting with a bike, if you're using on a long trip and you don't care about oiling a filter, taking a washing it, this is probably the way to go. They're fairly cheap. You pull the old out, pull the new one in, and call it a day. Now, if you don't want to fill your landfill with used air filter, but you want something that stays permanently on your bike, you might want to go with a cloth air filter. And as I said, it can be K&N, it can be SNS, or whatever other brand fits your bike best and fits your your preference best. To note though that with a cloth air filter you actually have to remove it more often than the paper filter, and you need to wash it and oil it. And if you mostly ride on the road with a little bit of off-road here and there, light off-road, the cloth air filter will do just fine. If you do a lot of off-road, the cloth air filter might not be the best solution for you because they tend to be clogged quite a bit. Mind you, the cloth air filter is usually a high flow air filter, which means it lets through a lot more air. All right, I have a problem with H, with H's. So air, hair, whatever else, it's gonna come out weird. Every time I say hair, I'm not talking about my hair. I'm talking about the hair, air for the air, breathing, hair. So anyway, they let way more air through the intake, and the way they stop the particles from coming in is by using oil. So if the oil dries out, if there is not enough of it, you're gonna start having particles coming into the engine, which is it a problem? It is and it is not. Meaning, on the long run, in my opinion, I'm not an engineer, not a classic mechanic. Over time, but we're talking about hundreds of thousands of miles for those little particles to actually give you problem and cause damage to the engine. And if you go off-road quite a bit, at that point, yes, go with the foam air filter, because the foam air filter is going to be able to trap way more and at the same time let still air through. We have Konstantinos, greetings from Greece. Hey guys, how's it going in Greece? Over here is raining today. Somehow, this is California, but I'm glad you joined us from Greece, and I hope you can put your 2 cents in about high flow air filters. So, as I was saying, there is a lot going on with, I'm going to use K&N air filters for simplicity's sake. There is a lot going on the internet saying that those filters actually will ruin your bike, will destroy the piston, will destroy the piston rings, they will do all sorts of damage. The only real risk when using a high flow air filter that needs oil in it, it's usually if you have an air metering unit, a MUF, in there, which the oil, the particles of oil might actually fly into the sensor and dirt him up and give you a fault code or something like that. So and that's for modern new motorcycles and cars. When it comes to the old motorcycle, there is no metering, air metering system in there, so it's just a free-for-all. But I've seen this guy coming out with a piston. And I was like, oh, look at this piston. It's all scratched up and it's gouged up and stuff. This is the piston of my old car, by the way. It wasn't running properly. And the guy was talking about those high flow air filter letting in enough particles to actually scratch the piston. We got to think about that. If you think about it, the piston rings scrub the cylinder every time the piston goes up and down. There should be no oil coming in. And there is a very, very small percentage of gases that actually makes it through the piston rings if the piston rings are in good shape. Now, if the piston rings are in bad shape, they're cracked, they're broken, yeah, some air and whatever it's in the air is going to go through it. But at that point, this thing is at probably around 200-300 degrees Celsius in there, every explosion. There is not much surviving that. And on that note, the air comes in when the piston goes down, the air comes in, then it compresses when the piston comes up and explodes and pushes the piston down, and then the piston comes up and expels the air. The air stays in there. I don't know if you guys realize how fast a piston goes up and down into the cylinders. So the air comes in and out really, really quick. And the particles that make it past the air filter are very, very small. And all this damage in the short term is nothing. As long as you keep up with your filter maintenance, so wash it and oil it properly. I would say every time you do an oil change, so maybe every 6,000 miles or so, or once a year, or obviously, if you ride your bike in dusty terrain all the times, they might need to be done more often than the suggested 6,000 miles. When it comes to the regular paper filter, some people say that if you just ride on the street and you don't do much off-roading and you don't live in the desert, you can actually replace these every 10,000 miles or so. So that's where the convenience comes from. There is another myth about the high flow air filters. The myth goes that they give you more air through, therefore you're gonna get this increase in horsepower. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure they write it on the box somewhere that you get so much percent. No, I guess they got smart. But it's usually not the case. You might pick up 1 or 2 horses, maybe 3 at the wheel, if everything else is in good shape. But most times, because the restriction of the airbox, because the collector that goes from the airbox into the engine is restricted, you don't pick up that much. The convenience comes when you actually are able to modify the airbox, put an exhaust system that allows for the gases to escape faster, so the engine needs more air coming in as well, and you remap the ECU. At that point, yes, you're going to actually get a positive performance increase out of the K&N air filter, because it's in combination with the engine is breathing in better, the exhaust is letting the engine breathe out better, and the air filter, the airbox is not so restrictive that there is just so much air going in. So that's what it is. In the end, if you like the K&N air filter, you don't want to keep throwing filters away or stuff, get it. Understand that you cannot go do the Dakar race with a K&N air filter. You will probably be better served by one of those sponge filter, possibly with a sock on top. But even the sponge filter needs to be washed and cleaned. And for my experience, the cloth air filter it's way faster to actually wash and clean that the spongy one. So that's about it. And when it comes to, oh yeah, if you put an high flow air filter, your engine is gonna explode, your piston is gonna crack, and stuff is gonna fly off. That is not the case. Most likely your timing is wrong and the valves are banging against the piston. In my case, I'm not sure that this piston is probably been this way who knows how long before I redid my car engine and pulled them out and figured out, hey, it's missing a chunk. And all those guys that actually tell you that your high flow air filter is to blame because you got scratches, you got gouges on the wall of your piston below the piston rings, they don't know squat. As I said, I was watching this video and this guy had those pistons destroyed. And I've seen piston in that condition before myself because I had a Vespa. And in Italy we say grippare. And I destroyed many pistons because not lubricated well enough, because I didn't do the braking period properly. And another thing is he was bringing up piston and say, oh, look at this piston on this side is black and this is all the carbons and stuff, and on this side is less, and he was giving all sorts of weird explanation for it. And then it turns out there was a cruiser piston, which most likely, if he's a cruiser, Harley or whatever else, is air-cooled. When you have an air-cooled engine, the piston, the side of the piston that is on the front of the engine gets more air and cools down better than the back side. So there is going to be a discrepancy between the front side and the back side of the piston. But let's see what you guys are saying over here. Oliver from California likes all my bikes. Thanks, Oliver. Appreciate it. If you're in California, next time I'm doing a group ride, come join us. Hopefully you're close enough because it's going to be around the Inland Empire, maybe Los Angeles or Santa Monica. It's going to be that area where the best roads are. So we'll do that. If you're still on, what bike do you have? Let me know. And then there is Constantino saying that he's using his F800GS as an ADV, mostly road with some off-roading miles, 80-20 or so. Stock air filter, not interested about more horsepower. I want only the best choice for my bike. Constantinos, if you're planning to keep your bike for hundreds of thousands of miles, probably the best way to protect it is with a paper filter. The OEM air filter, because is much more restrictive and lets less particles in. If you, like me, first of all, because of all these bikes over here, I never put too many. The bike that I put the most miles on is the F800GS back there. But even then, I bought it in 2015, at the end of 2015, 2016. And I only put 8,000 miles on it because 8,000 on that, and then 5,000 on the Aprilia, and then another 5,000 on the Scrambler, and then every time I go off-roading. So I doubt that I'll get my F800GS up to 100,000 miles. And as a matter of fact, sorry for all those that watch this channel just because of the F800GS, but eventually the F800GS is gonna go and make somebody else very happy, because that's a fantastic bike. But I'm coming to the end of a usable maintenance slash accessory install in life, and since that's mostly what I do, we're almost there. As a matter of fact, the next video on the F800GS is gonna be me installing those. My end is pretty big, so it almost doesn't compare. I wish I had something that people can recognize, but this is a rigid auxiliary light system, and they're so small. It's like 1 inch by 1 inch by 2 inches, maybe 1.5 inches in the back. And the best part is, let's see if I can get you guys to see it. Let's increase the light. The best part is you can use a GoPro mount to put this on. You remove this thing and you put a GoPro mount in there, and you can literally put this anywhere you want. The guy, the parts guy from BMW, which probably is not watching, but hey there, told me that he actually has GoPro mounts on his helmets, and he put those on his helmet with a battery pack so that anywhere he looks, those are pointed. Those are super bright, by the way, LED. So this is gonna be the next installation video for the F800GS. It took me quite a bit to actually decide on a set of auxiliary light, because I wanted it small. I didn't want it to be giant and not looking proper on the F800. But so, as I was saying, eventually the F800 is gonna have to go, and I'm pretty confident that even if I used a K&N air filter on it for most of its life, the engine is gonna be in great conditions. There is no... Let's think about what's... If you put sand or sand particles or dust particles in a piston, in a cylinder, the problem would be that you wear out your piston rings faster, because the piston rings is what is getting the blunt of the action. And if that's the case, you're gonna start seeing an increase in oil consumption. You're gonna start seeing a decrease in compression, and the bike in general is not gonna run great. And as much as that's a inline twin from BMW, it still runs pretty good. I don't even have that notorious chain slap distribution chain on the engine yet. So I would go high flow, but I understand that I understand that if you want the maximum protection for your bike, OEM, cheap, easy to replace, no maintenance required, go with that and forget about it, especially if you're not looking for increased performance or to add way more stuff on the engine. We have Joe Yutan 01 from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, joining in. Good to see you joining us. And if you guys have a bike when you join, let me know what bike you have. I'm really curious to see the different bikes in different parts of the world. Like, I'm not surprised that Konstantinos in Greece has an F800. Greece has beautiful, beautiful terrain to tour with an F800, where most likely a 1200 GS would be too big, and where a 310 GS would be too small of a bike. The F800, F850, or another of those medium adventure bike would fit just in, where you can do just enough off-road and just enough road driving. So I'm not surprised. While while I know that in Southeast Asia they tend to buy and use smaller bikes. In this case, actually, Joe, can I call you Joe? Joe has a 2019 TV4 Factory, I guess. So pretty new bike. Um, and yeah, it's a pretty big bike. If you have a TUONO V4 1100cc, it's definitely a big bike for that side of the world, or so. But since we're talking about big bikes and new bikes and bikes in general, oh yeah, see the mug? Cool, huh? Since we made it to what, about 20 minutes of this, before I forget, I need to thank all my patrons, because they're helping so much. I finally can afford to buy some good parts for the bikes. So much so that I'm actually thinking of doing a build, getting in whatever bike and build it up and see what comes out of it. Let's see, a bunch of other people just joined in. We have P45 CE ENL from Switzerland. He has a scrambler and his son has a Benelli. Benelli is not very known in America, but in Europe is way more. It's way more popular, especially in Italy. Good choice, good bikes. A scrambler, solid, right there. Then we have Hugo as a Ducati Scrambler Dark and loves it. Of course you do, because it's super fun bike. And as a matter of fact, among the build I was thinking, it was like I wanted to get an older scrambler and see what I can do with it. But so many people have done so much with the scrambler that it's kind of hard to find something new to do to that bike. And mind you, right now I love the way that scrambler over there looks, and since we're talking about it, you guys can't see the scrambler, can you? Aha! Oh yeah, you can see just a little piece. The next thing on the scrambler is gonna be a Rizoma side license plate. I'm gonna chop off the license plate holder, the OEM. I tried to buy the Rizoma license plate holder on Amazon. The guy contacted me back and told me that it does not fit the scrambler. And that's what happened when you have company selling stuff on Amazon without knowing anything about what they're selling. All the scramblers, all the 2015 scramblers have the same swing arm. The only reason why it doesn't always say that it fits that scrambler and it only fits the full throttle is because the full throttle has the rear license plate, the bottom swing arm attached license plate, so the wiring is down there. But there is a way to rerun the wiring from where it is in the back all the way down to the side. You just get the full throttle, or you get the scrambler manual, which has the full throttle diagrams, and you just copy straight out of that. So then we have Marcelo. Marcelo, how's it going, man? Hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly. And then you want to... and then we have Joe saying that he wants a Ducati Street Fighter V4. I like it. I'm not gonna lie about it. It's a beautiful bike. It's a great engine. It's way too expensive. Way too. All those new bikes are getting so expensive out there. I can't get myself to spend 25 grand on a naked bike. When it comes to the Hypersport, a V4R, when it comes to a BMW S1000RR, I understand spending the extra money because of the components and what's involved. But when you get a naked bike, which usually is the little, not the little brother, but usually is the crotch rocket version of that bike without the fairing. So there is the R&D, not enough to justify that amount of money. And I understand there are obviously on the Street Fighter V4 there are lots of parts made out of magnesium, carbonium, and all sorts of other stuff. But still, it pains me. It really does pain me that spend 25 grand, which by the way with taxes, this and that, ends up being way more for a naked bike. As a matter of fact, since we're talking about new Ducatis, I just watched the presentation for the new Multistrada V4. I love the technology. I love the new engine, and I absolutely love the new maintenance intervals for it. But it looks a lot like a red Suzuki V-Storm. So I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday on the phone, and we talk about motorcycles a lot apparently. And it seems like Ducati is moving towards more of a general population, they're trying to please a larger audience. So no more desmodronic systems on the new engine. They just go to valves because the maintenance intervals can be extended. The new looks are very Japanese. The Multistrada, very Japanese. The new Monster, I took a quick look at it. Very Japanese. So I don't know. And I used to love the trellis frame. So much so that the F800GS, my F800GS, one of the thing I like the most is the tubular frame, the red tubular frame. So we'll see how it goes. Some people will buy anything, just like Apple. Apple can make, let's see what I can pull out of here. Apple can make this block of wood, put an apple on it, and tell you that great innovation, environmentally friendly iPhone holder. And people buy it, or people spend $100 for it. Which, by the way, it's my idea. I just want to put it out there. Big block of wood with albesadv on it to help prop stuff up on the motorcycle. Anyway, let's see. Yep. P45 CA7 ENL is saying yes, it's not a Desmo V4 anymore, and that sucks. On the other hand, maybe the older 950S Multistrada will go down in price, because if you guys have watched some of my videos, you'll realize how much I like that bike. Another bike lately that I like very much, that is getting into my head, it's the BMW R90. It's getting in, and it's not letting go. And all the people, I wrote it, I actually reviewed a bunch of them, all different models, and it feels really good. I'm starting to want weird engine, and the boxer engine on the R9T appeals to me so much right now. So we'll see eventually, if you guys keep following me throughout the years, those bikes most likely are gonna go and new bikes are gonna come in. As a matter of fact, let's see. You guys see the Yamaha, the YZ over there in pieces. That is because I'm putting it back together properly. I'm adding hot cams to it. I'm doing an oil change, fluid. The air cams and the valve adjustment is going to be on a video. Most of the rest of the stuff is just going to be me fixing it up and make it ready to sell. If I can sell that bike for a decent amount of money, there are a few projects I was thinking about it. Actually, you guys might be able to help me on this. What do you guys think about getting a bike like in 1990s era Honda Goldwing, which is gigantic. By the way, I just reviewed one. That's why that popped in my mind. And strip it down. That bike has a giant 6-cylinder boxer engine. And because I'm attracted to weird big engines, that's one of the things I was thinking about doing. Just get one of those, get anything I can off, and try to make something pretty out of it, rather than that gigantic, super comfortable thing. So let me know what you think. Put a comment down below or in the chat, whatever. But let me know, because I've been really thinking about it, and they're fairly cheap, and they're Hondas, so they last forever. So even better, if you have a better bike that you think I should get and start working on it, mind you, it needs to be used, it needs to be cheap. Leave a comment, let me know, and maybe I'll make it happen. But before we close this whole thing, with all of you out there, there is another video that a few of you might be interested in, and I'm gonna refurbish. I'm gonna change the oil on this Olin's Scott steering damper. So why say, I just noticed it says Olin's. It says Olin's on it, and then it says Scott's over there. This one comes straight from the Yamaha over there. Anyway, I'm gonna do an oil change. I'm gonna change some of the O-rings, even if it actually doesn't leak, and I'm gonna make a video of it. So if you actually listened to me when I told you to get one of those Scott steering damper for the BMW, the F800 GS, and you think it's time to change the oil or the fluid, whatever they call it in there, I'm gonna make a video for you, just for you, man. Yeah, just go weird really quick. So I have so much going on, really so much going on, so many parts to install, so much to do, so little time and money. But I really appreciate the support. The channel has been growing steadily, 10,000 more, and you guys have been active in talking to me and let me know what you think. I have great conversations, other than with my patrons. With my patrons, we talk on the Discord server on a daily basis, so it's like text messaging. But I have very interesting conversation in the comments and through private messaging with some of you guys. And as a matter of fact, the idea for this video came from having one of those conversations where we were talking about K&N air filters and the fact that most people think they're gonna destroy your engine, full on destroy your engine. No, come on, think about it. And I see a lot of people out there just in their little garage, with their motorcycles all in pieces and claiming, oh yeah, no, the K&N or whatever other high flow air filter will just destroy your bike, and look what it did to my pistons and this and that. And it's a little more complicated than that. If K&N and most of the other brands have been in business for 30, 40 years, they used all over the place. If the result were that bad, I'm pretty sure that the word would have come out other than from a shady guy in a shady garage that has no formal training about. As I'm saying this thing, I'm starting to realize it almost feels I'm talking about myself. So, but it is what it is. Anyway, it's what is it here? It's 9:45 over here, and I see that some of you actually stuck with me this whole time, which that's cheers, man. That's it's a pretty good task. Listen to my broken English coming through, and especially on an episode like today with air. Even my wife and kids make fun of my H pronunciation, which, all right. But so if you're able to make it through these whole 45 minutes with air and hair and whatever else, thank you very much. I really enjoyed those chats. I really wish there was Heath. Heath joined us. Heath is one of my patrons out there. Thanks, man. Hopefully you're enjoying the latest video I did on the F800 and the video I'm gonna make on the Scott steering damper. But anyway, I was saying, I wish there was a way for me to actually directly talk to all of you. Like in a voice type of scenario, rather than me having to go down, read the comments to you, because you guys that are logged in right now can see the comments. Once the video goes offline and stays on YouTube for everybody else to see, they have no idea about the chat. The chat does not come with the comments. The chat just disappears. So that's why I'm reading the comments out loud. So I wish there was a way to talk, because I like that back and forth. All right, Heath, plug in my Patreon on. Right on, man. Because some people, they're either watching me on the phone and they don't want to get on the chat. And some people, they just don't want to write. Some people, like me, have a broken English, but it's even worse in typing. So they'd rather not put in a chat or a comment. And instead, I really want to know what you guys think. Because otherwise, if I only listen to my friends, if I only listen to the people around me, my view of certain bikes, my view of certain topics is going to be limited. I'm going to be in my little garage, in my little bubble here, and never think about, oh yeah, this guy claims K&N will destroy your engine. Maybe. Most likely not. Or I would focus a lot on big engines because in America, you'll buy the biggest engine you can afford, even if you don't know how to ride it. And that's the way it goes. So I would like to talk to people in Southeast Asia face to face. I would like to talk to people in Europe which have a different view of everything. The people in South Africa, Australia, there is so much more out there than our little bubble over here. And I see that with motorcycles. There are people I talk to that there is one motorcycle, one brand only. It's going to be Ducati. It's going to be a crotch rocket. God forbid, if you put a handlebar on anything, they're going to spend their 35 grand on a motorcycle, Ducati Red, and that's it. And then they get old. And somehow, because it's ingrained and because they don't talk to anybody else other than to the people at their Ducati club meetings that talk about winglets and stuff, I know because I've been to those meetings, you're not starting to realize, hey, wait a minute, let me take a ride on a GS. Let me take a ride on an R9T. Let me take a ride on a Yamaha, whatever, MT09, MT07, MT10. It just doesn't go in. So much so that a friend of mine, hey Robbie, how's it going? If he's watching this video, the new Aprilia RS660 came out, and he looked at it as a commuter bike, where most anywhere else in the world, the RS or SR, RS660 from Aprilia is going to most likely be considered a crotch rocket. But because the clip-ons are actually higher than his Panigale, for him it's like a commuter bike. And it pains me, because I like Robbie so much, but it pains me to tell you, Robbie, the Aprilia RS660, it definitely is not a commuter bike. It's a great bike, and I agree with you. It's a fantastic bike, not a commuter bike. Real quick, Bel Hadish, Yanis, joined us. Amen. And so, keep your mind open. There is so much out there. The only thing I can condone it's biased against Harley. Let's not get fired up over Harley Davidson. They make some cool bikes every millennia, but in my opinion, most of the bikes, they're cool to look at. Other than that, they're underpowered, too heavy, bad ergonomics, vibrate too much, brake too much, and on and on and on, and cost too much. So, but keep your mind open. One of those days, I might have a Harley in the garage somehow. Chances slim, very slim, but you never know. I have my wife torturing me right now because she wants a Honda Rebel 500, and I would much rather cut off my pinky finger, then buy a Honda Rebel 500. But she loves it because she can touch on it. And there is nothing I can do. There's absolutely nothing I can do. And eventually she's gonna make me buy a Honda Rebel 500. I know. She's gonna start, how you say, she's gonna start saying, well, if you don't buy me a Honda Rebel 500, maybe you shouldn't buy any more bikes, or maybe you shouldn't change your bike because I never get the bike I want, blah, blah, blah. Mind you guys, I bought her Ducati Scrambler because it's a million times better than the Honda Rebel 500. But as I'm saying, you never know. There might be a Honda Rebel eventually in the lineup, or whatever else. Suggestions, recommendations are always welcome. And eventually the lineup behind me is gonna look very, very different. At this point in time, if I really need to think hard about it, the only bike I absolutely do not want anything to happen to, so neither sell it or break it or crash it, is the Aprilia. I'm utterly and just incredibly in love with the Aprilia. It checks all the boxes for me. And to my eyes, because I understand some people don't like the way it looks, to my eyes, that bike looks, I don't know any non-vulgar word to describe what I feel for it. So, by the way, the Aprilia most likely is gonna stay, and sadly to say, even the F800 GS, which I had a blast with F800. I did trips with it. I did off-roading with it. I did canyon carving with it. It's a fantastic bike. It's a tank. There is no stopping it. But eventually, even that is going to have to go. Because time goes by, and it'll probably serve better and will be ridden more by somebody else other than me. And to tell you the truth, if KTM still produced the 1090, most likely that would have been the bike to replace the GS. But KTM does not produce the 1090 anymore. They went for their adventure bike as well to those either giant engine, 1300cc engine with gigantic weird headlight up front, or smaller engine, the 790, 890. Did I make an 890? I think they did make an 890. With the weird belly fuel tank. On top of enjoying riding a bike, and I know this might be weird, but I like to look at them. When I look at the bikes in my garage, I like them. I could never have to bring up again the Suzuki V-Storm. I could never own a V-Storm because it does not appeal to my eyes one lick. So, but let's see, you guys got crazy on the comments. I think you should get a Multistrada V4. Tell your wife it's important for your channel. Dude, it's important for my channel. Line is being used. It's been used about 4 times already. And I understand. But as I was saying a little early, you probably weren't there. the way that the new Multistrada looks, I don't know. Maybe I need to get used to it. We'll see how that goes. Then we have KTM will launch a 500cc trail that. All right. And then flowing the 390 ADV. When it comes to, I understand that KTM can come up with all sorts of middle engine over there, but I got that, and that is a proper enduro bike, where it's 525 cc's, as a license plate, which is the main reason why I got one of those, also having the Yamaha over there. Because if I need to go do gnarly stuff, most likely that's gonna be it. If I need to travel around, as much as we wanna, well, let's talk face to face, close to each other. As much as we all want to be adventurers, as much as we all want to be Obi-Wan Kenobi, or whatever his name is, Ewan McGregor and Charlie Bowman, most of our trips are going to be on the road. I'm talking too much, guys. It's not Corona. But so as much as we all want to cross Africa, we all want to go through Mongolia, most likely my bike is going to do local trips. It's going to go from here to Seattle one day. I'm going to go visit it over there. Maybe I'll make it from here to Texas. I'm going to go visit Robbie, different Robbie over there. Maybe I'll go to Utah, go visit Jeremy or something like that. But either way, a good 90% of the time I'm going to be on tarmac. So, sorry, I just read a comment. So the most likely I need a substantial engine that can crunch down a lot of miles and possibly good road tires on it. Let's see. You have Italian roots. Have you ever considered traveling through Italy, Sicily by bike? I am Italian. I don't have roots. I was born and raised there. So it's I've been I rode motorcycles since I was a kid. I was a motorcycle rider in the Italian army for my mandatory year. So I did ride through Italy. As a matter of fact, if you scour through my videos, there is my video of the Multistrada 950S. That's when I fell in love with that bike, going through Italy. And in general, I've traveled through Italy with a motorcycle, and it's great. Right now, unfortunately, with the situation, I don't know when I'm gonna be able to go back, but I would love to be able to just take off and go. But my Malaysian friend, we're in America here, and we do not take more than 2 weeks vacation per year, and it's kind of hard to go to Italy and travel Italy by motorcycle in 2 weeks. Cheers. But yeah, we'll see. You never know. I sincerely, I don't think, I hope, but I don't think my YouTube is ever gonna pay for me to just do this. I hope it does eventually in the future, because if it does, I can actually do way more things. My biggest problem, other than money, it's time. And if I could spend 100% of my time, my project, they all would be done much faster. My trips would be much longer and outside of the United States and stuff. But I also understand that I do maintenance videos. Most of the people that watch my videos is because they have a F800 GS. They need to do an oil change. They go on YouTube. Oh, look at this dumb face over here. He's doing an oil change. They click on my video, watch the video, do their oil change. Some of them subscribe because they hope for another maintenance video. Some of them, they'll never come back to the channel. So it's not one of those. Let's see. Come to Norway. Hugo, I really wish. I think Norway, summertime, it's a beautiful country. I wish I could come right through Norway. Oh my God, if I would. So you never know. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for joining us, by the way. Let's say, yep. So said about the 2 weeks, maybe by... oh yeah, we're getting politics involved. I doubt, and this is for what I've seen in the past 16, 17 years I've been in the United States. I doubt America will ever go to a European vacation type of standard. It's just different here. When I talk to some of my friends, when I was a flight instructor, my schedule was flexible. I only got paid when I worked. So if I wasn't there, I wasn't getting paid. There wasn't vacation involved. It's just, if you want to leave for a month, leave for a month. You're not going to get paid. So I would leave and go to Italy for a month or so. And some of my American friends would not understand why. It's like, what? Are you taking a month off? What's wrong with you? And I'm like, it's kind of hard to see anything in 2 weeks. So I doubt America will ever go to a 5-week a year vacation thing. Mind you, most jobs revolve around those 2 weeks vacation. Some jobs, like my wife has been with the same company for 20, 25 years, so she accrued more vacation. I think she has 3 weeks a year, 3 and some change. But yeah, doubt it. And if you want to laugh about it, in my job, I don't even have vacation day. I have what they call PTOs, which are personal time off, which means my now 12 days a year, they're not just for vacation. If I get sick and I stay home for 3 days, those 3 days come out of those 12 days of my total vacation. So it's just a system. I'm luckier than most because thanks to the aviation rules and the FAA, I'm able to actually work 1 week and get a week off. I do work 12 to 14-hour days back to back, but then I get time off on the other side. So that's one of the perks on my job. But most other job, if you get Friday, Saturday and Sunday off, and you're stuck with the 2 weeks, that's tough. But eat, challenge accepted. Albe's great Scandinavian tour. How cool would it be if we can get together, a whole bunch of us? First of all, it would be super cool if I can actually get a whole bunch of you and take you guys to Italy. With me over there, speaking the language, knowing most of the rules, knowing what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And I've been all over Italy when I used to live there. I think that would be a fantastic tour where we'll start in Sicily and we'll end up in Venice or some crazy stuff like that. I even have the hookup for rental bikes down there because I met these people at BMW over there that had Ducatis and BMW. So it would be fantastic. It's just the time. And if I do something like that, then we'll go there for a month. I need to come back and work. So, anyway, fantastic idea, Scandinavian tour. I'll put it on the list: Italian tour, Scandinavian tour, and eventually, when I'm old and frail and all gray, we'll go. Joe subscribed to your channel right after I bought my TUONO factory. Because you're smart, man. That's what smart people do. They subscribe. And all 7 or 8 of you out there that are watching me right now, subscribe if you're not done it yet. Watch all my videos. Let's see. Costantino says KTM 790 ADVR is your next bike. Constantinos, I really can't get over the giant fuel tank on the belly of the bike. I wish I could. I just can't get over, man. I look at the bike and I'm like, I want to shave it off. Anyway, so. As I said multiple times, the 1090 that I wrote, I wanted it. The 1190, I wanted it. The 1290, I think, is too big. And anything below the 1090, or it is bringing up the 990, which was a fantastic bike. Anything below that, I think is not. It's neither meat or fish. It's somewhere in between, as we say in Italy. It's neither touring, adventure, nor enduro. It's somewhere in between. And I don't know. If you're lucky enough to be able to afford multiple bikes, it's probably best to have compartmentalized or specialized bikes. Which, by the way, in Europe, it's a total nightmare to own multiple bikes, but in America, it's definitely doable, guys. There are so many bikes, so cheap out there. I've been looking lately because I'm looking for this project bike, and there are so many good bikes out there. They're sub $5,000. So, and the insurance here in America, it's fairly cheap. Which, by the way, I need to make a video about insurance. The wife works in it and she can explain everything. There are some things that I never even thought about that she explained to me, and it's probably worth knowing, especially if something happened. But, oh my God, I kept you here an hour and 10. What am I? Joe Rogan? Or some? Yeah, definitely not. From the height of my 10,000 subs compared to his 10 millions or whatever he's got. But I'm surprised. I've seen some of you guys stick around for most of it. And I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. Let's say I have a buddy in the UK who was blown away that I bought an F750 and called it a smaller bike. Hey Joe, buonanotte. It's kind of weird because at a certain point in time, BMW even had an F650, and I don't know about England, but in Italy, F800, the 700, the 650, those the more popular bike to have. So it's definitely not a small bike. It's still an 800cc bike. It's just tuned different. It costs a little less than an F800, so that's a plus, and it can do most of what the F800 can do. And as a matter of fact, you can swap parts with it, most of it. Let's see what we have here. 25 miles maintenance very soon on my F800 GS. BMW dealer is asking 500 euros to do. Oh my god! Valve clearance. Do you think it's an acceptable price? For a 25k or for a 40,000 kilometer service, 500 euros is definitely not bad. I have a friend that needs to do a valve adjustment on his Panigale, and I think they're gonna take what, $1,500 or some crazy amount of money, $2,000, or am I mistaken? Or it's a substantial amount of money. $500 for a good valve clearance, oil change. If you only do an oil change, they'll pull at least $150 out of you. So 500 euros for a 40,000 kilometer is not bad. If see the valve clearance check, we get into shady territory, because you need to know what you're doing. Even if you never done it on that bike specifically, if you've done it on something else, you know what to look for. The feeling when you're pulling that filler gauge between the lobes and whatever system your bike has, if you're checking it with a filler gauge, you need to get the feeling of it, because it is neither supposed to slap in there, nor is supposed to stick. It's supposed to kind of stick a little bit. I don't know how to describe it. It's mostly a feeling. So yeah, maybe it's not bad, 500 euros. And you live in France, so it's a BMW dealer. 500 euros for that big of a service might actually just be in par with what a Japanese manufacturer would ask for that type of service. So it's a pretty good price. If you can afford it, I would go for it. They know what they're doing, and that's one thing, is peace of mind that is going to stay with you, and hopefully they're not rushing through it, and everything is going to be to spec. As I said multiple times, here where I live, I'm starting to grow worried about mechanics touching my stuff, because he almost touching the microphone. He almost feels like they just want to get it done. They just want to get rid of it. Just get it done as fast as they can and get rid of it. And my questions are always, are they changing the crash washers? Are they using the appropriate torque on the bolts? Do they actually keep the shop manual handy to review the procedure before they start wrenching? Or, and I've seen it done in the helicopter business from some mechanics, where because they've been doing it for so many years, a new helicopter comes in and they start wrenching on it and apply the knowledge that they built over the year for another model from another brand. And it's not the same. You need to have the manufacturer shop manual handy as a reference. Don't need to read it, just have it there as a reference. If you get a doubt, go look at it real quick. And that's why I mostly do all my own maintenance. And fortunately enough, so far so good. Here it goes. Sorry, every once in a while I interrupt everything like this. Robbie is here. Robbie from Texas. Missed the start, but I'm really glad Robbie is another patron. And every time a patron shows up on one of my lives, he's gonna get the giant introduction. As I was saying, I tend to do most of my maintenance, and fortunately for me, I'm very maintenance inclined. A friend of mine told me I have the mind and the way of thinking of an engineer. I see stuff and they make sense. So, and I'm borderline obsessive compulsive. So before I do anything, I go to the shop manual, I go on forums, I go online, watch everything, and try to make sense of all the information, just like I did on the chain adjustment for the scrambler. I didn't think there was a big deal. I read the manual, but then I went online, and everybody kind of interprets that differently, and everybody puts their own spin on it. So in my video, I'm not saying I'm correct. My video is what I understand of that procedure. And so far, I haven't lost a chain yet. So far, I haven't been left on the road stranded for something I did to one of my vehicles. Let me think. Yeah? All right. Time to get personal. Quick story. One time I got stranded was in Italy with a Vespa. I was 14, 15, just replaced the 50cc or 49cc piston, cylinder and head for a 102cc. I pretty much doubled the size of that little Vespa engine. And because I'm a knucklehead and I was young, instead of doing a proper braking period, I got excited by the power of the freaking little Vespa. And did I make it 10 miles? 10 miles and the engine just the piston ring freaking melted on that cylinder because it wasn't seated quite yet, and I destroyed that piston. Lasted a day, glorious day, and I had to go buy another one. So, but from that point on, most of the bikes that I wrenched on brought me back home. Let's see. Yeah, apparently Heath has a stripped oil plug in his bike because what I was talking about. And that happens. And mind you, sometimes even the manual might not have it right. As a matter of fact, the holy, if this live stop all of a sudden, is because it started. We have on in a thunderstorm right now. So I was saying even the manual doesn't get it right all the times. When I did the oil change on the scrambler, the manual called for a 40 newton meters or 30, 32, 40, something like that newton meters for the drain plug. And then as I'm torquing it, I saw the crash washer kind of squeeze more than normal, and I stopped. And then I didn't think much of it. I thought it was a defective crash washer. But then, after all, I went to look online and I saw comments on the video that the manual is actually wrong. And the real torque was 21 or 22 newton meters. So much so that I wrote a comment, I pinned the comment, I wrote a line in the description. Then I understood that people don't read, so I kept getting messages about that being wrong. So because of the last comment, I had a guy almost stripped his oil plug. I actually decided to do a new thumbnail for that video, and now on the thumbnail itself it says drain bolt 21 newton meters or something like that. So although at times even the manual is not right, if you have a professional that is not in a rush and is paying attention to what he's doing rather than, he'll figure it out. And on top of that, 90+% of the time, the manual is actually right. Other than stuff lost in translation when it comes to Italian manuals, Ducati manuals, and stuff like that. But you guys tired of listening to me yap? And a giant chorus of yes came up. I guess, no man, this is fun. I agree. This is a lot of fun. If it was up to me, I would do a 24-hour live video and just keep yapping with you guys. It's like, especially in the time of the pandemic, it's like having friends over and talking about motorcycle. What's better than just being in a garage and just talking about motorcycles? Which, how cool would it be? How cool would it be if I could have some of you over and just bring your bike in and we'll work on your bike? You know, I had a let me see. So Robbie just commented on the scrambler manual, but I had a guy lately asking me if he could bring a YZ426 over to me to have it rebuilt. And because I'm not a classically trained mechanic, but it's more like I've been doing it for ages and I'm very I take care of the details and look for to know everything I do before I actually start doing it. I've been pretty successful, but this is also America. And people sue coffee company or McDonald's because their coffee is too hot and they get burned. Can you imagine if I work on somebody else's bike for whatever reason, the bike, I don't know, it doesn't really have to be related. The guy can ride his bike into a tree. Even if he personally would never sue me because is not that way, I'll guarantee you a relative or a friend is going to stick his nose into it, and first thing they're going to do is like, wait a minute, this guy that is not a mechanic worked on your bike? We're going to make some money. And next you know, I'm going to get sued, and me being nice and trying to help turns out in me getting, know what I mean? So working on bikes, it's on somebody else's bike, it's kind of difficult. But if you are working on your own bike and I'm just here helping, at that point it's just two bodies working on a bike. So when I get called by the judge, it's like, yeah, you touched this bike and you worked on it. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was helping. The owner of the bike was doing the work. I was just here lending a hand. So otherwise it would be freaking fantastic to just bring your bike in. Let's work on it, man. Let's add whatever. I put the know-how, I put the tools, and you bring the bike and the parts. Hell, get on it. I like it. It's fun for me. So let's see what we got. It says, I wish I lived in Socal. I'll be there in 18 hours. Man, I actually made a few friends because of this, because of the YouTube. Most of them were friends of friends, like when I did the Indian Scout Bobber. I've met Lee in passing because he was friend with my next door neighbor, you know. But then we got in touch. He brought his Indians over. I put all that stuff in it. He loved it. And because I knew him from before, and because he was here while I was doing the work, I knew that I was somewhat safe from liability, and nothing would explode. I wasn't working on suspensions or something that can actually break, and all of a sudden you lose a wheel, off you go the side of the road, and now you're on my conscience. I was just adding a filter, I was adding an exhaust system, and I did a remap. A worst case scenario, the bike will run rough. So I did that. Another one was Robbie with his Panigale 959 Corse. Never met Robbie. He started messaging me, and I was like, brand new bike, it's Panigale 959. Let's do a motorcycle and coffee, which unfortunately, because of the pandemic, I can't do right now. There are so many people that I actually want to go talk to. Like there is a guy in St. Dimas, that has an incredibly interesting garage, and I wanted to talk to him, but pandemic and all. So, but anyway, so Robbie brought. We met for coffee. I interviewed him, and then we went on rides together. There he is. Very true. He just sent a comment. I didn't know you were here. So, but anyway, so we started going on rides. We started hanging out, and we hit it up because some people with the same frame of mind about motorcycles, most of us will get along. Let's face it. So we started hanging out, and when he said he wanted to do a few things, aesthetic things to his bike, I was like, hell yeah, bring it in. But that's a universe away from adding a few aesthetic pieces to the bike, like the monoposto seat, or what else? I did a whole bunch of stuff to it, compared to actually do a full-on rebuild on the bike. On a full-on rebuild, I miss a torque spec on on one of the bolts, one of the important bolts, a caliper will pop off. Hard, I mean, you never know. Might not happen. Most likely it's not going to happen. But there is ground for whomever to say, you know what? This happened, so now I own your life. I'm going to take your house away. Which point I'll be like, good luck to you. There is a lot to do here, so I enjoy. But anyway, oh my God, you guys are making me talk so much. Every time I'm about to call it quit, some question comes in and some stories come in, and here I am, like the poor motorcycle version of a podcast. Here I am doing this. Let's see, clear catch. Yeah, and now we have Roma in Victoria, which is Robbie, because his name is Robbie. Start bragging about clear crash cover, grips, levers, tail tidy, rear set, and the list goes on, and I still have parts, man. Let's have this pandemic end. Bring the bike. We'll install the light bulbs, and those few other parts you brought me over is still here. Speaking of parts, oh man, since I have a few of you, a few of my patrons up, I haven't forgot about the headlight. I'm gonna pull a name soon. The F800 GS LED headlight. I'm gonna pull one of your names soon, and I'll contact you personally via, I don't know, Teams, Skype, Instagram, something where we can actually talk, and I'll let you know your win. I'll make a video, and I'm gonna put your guy's name into a list. Go to Google, random number generator, pull it out, see who wins it. I understand that this light is specific for the F800 GS, F700, and probably the 650 as well. What I'm actually asking is, if you win the light, don't be greedy. You should get something for it. So if one of the fellow patrons has that type of bike, get in touch with him. We have a Discord server that is so easy to talk to. Get in touch with him. See if he's willing to take it off your hands for a decent price. You know, as I said, you won, so you deserve to get some for it. But at the same time, if the guy can get it for half a price or less, we're all motorcycle riders here. Let's do each other a favor. Let's see what we got. You know what? I wanted to dyno my scrambler. I just need to find a place to dyno it, and a place that is not gonna ask me for $400, $300-400 to dyno my stupid scrambler. Because with $400 I can buy more parts for the scrambler. Eat is asking if the scrambler is let's go in order. Roma is asking if the Kimbo coffee that he sent me was good. The Kimbo coffee that you sent me was fantastic. It's one of the better coffee you can get from Italy, and I really appreciate it. I've been enjoying it slowly because I'm gonna make it last, and because when I make coffee the Italian way, it's a weekend event rather than an everyday thing. So thank you very much. Moving on to Heath. Heath is asking if the scrambler is fairly comfortable. The scrambler, it is. fairly comfortable. But the seat, somehow the seat, it's not. It looks like a giant, let's see. You guys can see it here, maybe. No, further there. There you go. The seat is wide, is super wide, but somehow after a few hours on the seat, there are pressure points, and it's not great. I was expecting better. I heard a lot of people buy those Mustang seats, which is not the car, it's Mustang brand scrambler seat, which are much better. I've seen people cut the plastic underneath the seat to get a little bit more plushiness out of it, but I was expecting better. It's to say it quickly. I was expecting better. I thought it would be way more comfortable than it actually is, but it's not. I'll definitely add a seat on my scrambler to a Mustang seat. Yeah, Robbie from Texas. The Mustang seat, apparently it's where it's at. And they have multiple shapes. They have OEM looking ones. They have weird looking ones, cafe racer looking ones. And it's probably one of the best things to do to it. If, especially that's your main bike and you use it constantly. Roma in Victoria, which is from California, on his Panigale, he has the comfort seat, which is millions, light years better than somehow the regular seat for the Panigale. I rode his bike, and the seat is super, super plush, and at the same time, it's firm enough to be able to ride the bike properly, the way a Panigale is supposed to be ridden, by the way. We made it to 99 minutes. And messages keep pouring in, you guys. Let's see. I guess eventually some of you are going to go to bed. Eventually some of you are going to go get lunch or something. So we'll see how long this lasts. I still have a rally seat on my F800. I need to get some before not for a long trip. As I said multiple times, when it comes to my F800 GS, the seat is not bad on an F800 GS, but on long trip, it might be not that great. That air cushion that I have on my bike, it helps a little bit. But if you can actually get a seat that is made just for comfort, that's much better. Another idea, I wanted to get a piece of oh man, I'm getting a brain fart. That foam that the Tempur-Pedic is made of, whatever it's called. Oh man. All right, the foam that the Tempur-Pedic mattresses are made of, I wanted to get a piece of that and add one of those sheepskin that you can find at IKEA on top, sew it together somehow, and put that on top of my regular GS seat. I wanted to do that for memory foam! Memory foam! Here comes heat with a save. I wanted to do that for a long time because I think the combination of the memory foam and the sheepskin will be very comfortable on a super long trip. It's gonna look horrendous because I understand it's gonna look horrendous, but uh, screw horrendous when you're sitting on it and you're traveling 6, 7, 800 miles or whatever. Last question. Let's see from Bel Adige. What's the optimal RPM on the F800 GS for you? I have to do 900 kilometers straight in a couple of days, and I'm afraid that 5,000 to 6,000 RPM during 8 hours will be harsh for the bike. Any sustained RPM for a long period of time is not optimal for the bike. 4,500, 5,000 RPM, I don't think it's bad for the F800 GS, especially if you have the regular gearing on the bike. My bike, my front sprocket is one tooth smaller because I wanted more acceleration and I wanted to be more useful off-road. So to maintain 80 mile an hour, or which is what, 120, 130 on a freeway, my RPM are 55 to 6,000, and you can hear the engine kind of complaining. But if you can keep it around 45 to 5,000 RPM, just keep an ear on it. And that's what people need to understand. Listen to your bike, listen to the engine, feel the vibrations, feel the tires. Every time you go, the bike somehow is gonna tell you what's going on. Just feel it. If you, by the way, 8 hours on that, there's gonna be a lot of vibration no matter what on your hand. It's an inline twin. But yeah, just feel the bike. 5,000 RPM, 4,500 RPM should be no problem. And either way, you're gonna have to stop eventually to get gas and take a leak or something. So I think you'll be okay. 8 hours. Where are you going? You live in France. That's a pretty cool trip through France. It brings up a good point. It says that there is a point where you don't care how it looks anymore, and I tend to agree. On some bikes, there are some things I put on some bikes that I don't care what they look like. I just need it and I want it there. So, like the touring windshield on my F800 GS, I think it looks horrible compared to the short one. But it's such a relief that that's what it's made of, and that's what I'm going to use every time I go on a long trip. We have Robbie. He's asking if I talked about the Multistrada and the Monster. Yes, man, you're always late. Always late. I did, and to sum it up for you, I think great engine, great maintenance intervals, but it looks like a Suzuki V-Storm. So they make that big, even more bicky, and that, I don't know, I don't like the way it looks. I still like the older one better. Same thing with the Monster. I think they're starting to look very Japanese, which is not a bad thing. They're fantastic bikes, but if I buy a Ducati, it's because I want it to look special. If I buy a Ferrari, I don't want my Ferrari to look like a Corolla. Let's put it that way. If I have to spend all that money. Paris Montpellier. Are you going skiing on a motorcycle, man? That would be fantastic. Um, Roma was asleep. I'm sorry, princess. Sleeping out until what? We started at 9. All right, it's the weekend. I get it. Grazie mille. Prego. And nothing. Fire up the last questions right now because I kept you guys for 106 minutes and almost done with my cup of coffee. So cup of coffee ends, the live is gonna end. So fire it up right now. Or not. Well, if we're almost at the end of this, let me show you. If you become a patron on the highest tier, among all the perks, the personal chit chats with me on Discord and stuff, you also get this albesadv crew shirt. So far, Robbie got one, Robbie Texas, Robbie got one, Gary Cooper from San Diego, which by the way he has a YouTube channel as well, got one. So Robbie seems to love his very much. So join my Patreon if you think it's worth it. Doesn't have to be much, just the minimum will do, because that gives you access to the Discord server and we can just chit chat at will anytime. There you go. Eat, plugging it in. I love you, man. Eventually I'm gonna come up to Seattle and see you. You've been such a support. So join my Patreon if you can. I'm on it often, and you get to watch my videos about 2 weeks ahead of everybody else. Other than that, coming up for the bike is gonna be how to clean, rebuild, and re-oil a Scott steering damper. I have an RPM, PMR, RPG, PRG steering damper as well. Maybe I'll do that eventually. There is gonna be, for all of you that have adventure bikes, I'm gonna install those little tiny bit. I wanna make a freaking keychain out of it. Look at that. Floodlights for the F800 GS. Valve clearance and hot cams on the Yamaha over there. We're gonna chop a little bit of the tail off the scrambler over there. The KTM is gonna get almost a full rebuild, which I'm thinking about, instead of doing every single part a video, is gonna be more like a wheeler dealer style maintenance video, where we're gonna go in for a few days. We're gonna work on it, and nothing in particular. It's not gonna be a tutorial. It's gonna be mostly come and do it with me type of thing and see what we can pull out of it. The Aprilia, eventually gotta do an exhaust system on it, and an ECU remap. When it comes to the ECU remap, I'm most likely gonna take it to one of the dealer over here because when it comes to the electronics, I don't quite trust the programs I have installed on my computer, which will do an handshake with the new ECU, but better not risk it. There's so much electronics on that if I screw it up, the bike dies, and I love that bike and I don't want anything to happen to that bike. So maybe an ECU remap is better served by somebody that does multiple of them almost on a daily basis. And that is about it. I'm gonna do some to the garage eventually when I get by the way, you guys don't see it because you only see that. But if you see this side of the garage over here, It's a mess. There is a lot going on. I'm not going to show it to you. So the garage is going to get a revamp. And another thing that I've been asked to is how to check a torque wrench. If it's a mechanical torque wrench, you can actually adjust it. If it's an electronic torque wrench, like the one I usually use, you cannot quite adjust it without special tools that go in there and change the stuff on the motherboard. But you can check if it's still accurate, and I'll show you how on a video. I try to take him. I try to take him in to have him checked, and what do they call it? Eat, my man. How do you call when you check the torque wrench to make sure it's accurate? Come on, you're on a roll. But I brought it in, and they wanted $100 a pop for the mechanical. And when it came to the electronic one, they were like, "Oh yeah, we don't do those. You need to ship it in, and blah blah blah. It's gonna be $100 plus shipping." The mechanical torque wrench I use, and I had for years, I brought from Harbor Freight for $30. I'm not going to spend $100 to have it checked again. I'm just going to buy another one. When it comes to the electronic, same thing. I bought that one for $98, $100 on Amazon. If I think it's not working properly, I'll just get rid of it and buy another one. And just so I'm going to teach you how to check if the torque is still accurate coming out of them. It's not difficult. It's all a matter of math and levers and having a vice. Let's see. A whole bunch of messages came in. Simon or Simon? Well, it looks more like Simon Dutois or something like that. He says hello anyway. Thanks, man. Thanks for joining. We've been at this for 113 minutes so far. It's been a marathon more than a live. Robbie says, yes, join his Patreon. Thanks, Robbie. See? Roma and Victoria. Why haven't you told the guys to join my Patreon yet? Just kidding. I usually have to bring it up because that's how you expand, but I don't expect my friends out of the motorcycle stuff to neither join my channel nor join my Patreon. I don't push it. I know most people that don't care about motorcycle, if they join and subscribe to my channel, they're not going to watch my videos. So I don't need the numbers. I don't care how many subscribers are there. Every single subscriber is important to me. I appreciate every single one of you, even if you don't like my videos or you never push the like button. I don't care. If I do something on my videos that can actually help you with your motorcycle, it's all I care about it. I have a day job. I'm not. I don't need this to eat, so we're all good. But obviously, the more I'm able to bring in from this, the more I can actually reinvest on the bike and bring you guys better videos, better parts, more exciting stuff. Oh. All right. That's good. Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, thank you, Robbie from Texas. Thank you, Robbie from California, or I should call you Roma. I know you like Roma and Victoria. So apparently, Roma is making cappuccino the way I taught him. All right. Fernando Aragon, cheers to you from Ontario, Canada. What's happening in Ontario? It's cold down here today. I can only imagine November in Canada. By the way, beautiful country. Same thing. Hopefully, eventually I make my way up there. I always loved Canada. Maple trees and so on. Fernando, thanks for joining us. We are at our last stroke, so if you have any question, pop them out right now, because my coffee is almost over. I'm gonna sip it slowly. Anyway, I hope this has been as entertaining for you guys as it's been for me. I've seen peaks of people watching up to 13, 14 or something like that, and I really appreciate it. And nothing. You know what? If we keep lingering here, we're gonna be here forever, and you guys got stuff to do. I know he needs to go ride his bike. I gotta go do chores and possibly work some more on those. So thanks for joining. If you like the video, like. If you love the video, subscribe. If you don't love the video, subscribe. If you don't care about the video, subscribe. And comment your heart out. And I'll see you next time. As I always say, I want to have those conversations more often, because it's a lot of fun, and getting in touch with you guys is always good. So cheers, and I'll see you next time.